Welcome to Awakened Titans podcast with Lily Patrascu. Mind-blowing conversations with influential business titans sharing how you can manifest abundance, love, joy, success through quantum awakening, quantum manifestation, quantum healing, quantum miracles, exponential business growth, and innovative products and services. Discover how to become the ultimate networker in this session with George Dubec, who is the ultimate networker. So the first question is, what is the secret to your success?
Well, the secret is training. It's more important than education. You have to train yourself to be skilled at anything. One of the misnomers is people think by reading books and attending seminars that they're going to become knowledgeable or successful in any particular skill. It doesn't work that way. You have to train yourself. Training is important. You get the information, you get the action plan, but then you have to implement it. And that's what I teach people how to do, how to train themselves to be a networker. Most people, I'd say 95% of people don't know how to network. They waste so much of their time in business going to expos, trade shows, networking events, parties, just going out in public, and they just don't know how to network. They don't know how to meet people. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to have casual conversation. But the number one most important thing they don't do, even when they make a connection, is follow-up. Follow-up is so critical. I can't tell you how many times I go to trade shows and I talk to people and I tell them I'm very interested in their product or service. And they're so enamored with collecting a lot of business cards and names and phone numbers, but then they don't do anything with it. I tell people that I'm very interested. I give them my contact information. They don't call me up. They don't follow up. I sit there and I go, I just talked to this guy yesterday and I told him I'd like more information. I'm interested in this product. Never calls. I don't know what's going on, but most people waste I can't even imagine how many hours people waste going to events with no real connections or contacts made. So that's the key. You have to train yourself, and you have to put an action plan together on how you're going to train yourself to become a better networker. And that's my main thrust here.
Thank you. And what makes you the ultimate networker? I mean, I know you've written 6 books about networking and other topics. So what would you say about your network? How big is your network?
My personal network is I have 5,000 legitimate good email addresses that I communicate with on a regular basis. The number one thing that I do is everybody that sends me an email, I don't care who it is. This could be a salesman, somebody I never heard from before, somebody spamming me. I grab their email address and I put it into my database every day. I probably put in 5 to 10 new email addresses in my database every day. And you have to keep your database, fairly clean. And then you communicate with your database periodically. You send them little updates or news or information or whatever. I promote events. I promote other people. But I keep in touch with my database. And then, of course, you can have your social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are the 3 main ones that I use. But, there's so many other platforms that people can communicate with a database of people.
Thank you. And how do you leverage your ultimate networking to grow your business?
Well, again, it depends on what you want to do. You can focus on yourself, promoting yourself. A good way to promote yourself is to promote other people and have them cross-promote. That's one of my big ways of networking. I tell people, look, I'll promote your event or your books or your whatever it is, and then you promote mine to your database.
Thank you. And what's your blueprint to become an awakened titan?
Well, number 1 is, like I said, training. Number 2 is to build a database. In fact, I told my grandkids who are going to college, I says, you need to start right now in college, and everybody you talk to every day, your teachers, the kids that you meet at school, you need to put all their contact information in the database, because after 4 years in college, once you graduate, just think about how many people that you would like to communicate with, but you never got their information, right? You go to school, you meet all these people, but you never keep track of their information. So that's the other key. Training, build your database. Then what you have to do is you have to create an action plan on how you're going to become a better networker. For example, I'm going to ask you, Lily, how would you rate yourself right now today on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very high, as a networker, a business networker? How would you rate yourself?
10.
A 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I'll share with you my little story. I thought, because I'm so good, I'm so cool, I know so many people. Before I wrote my books, I rated myself an 8. Okay. I didn't give myself a 10. I rated myself an 8. So I wrote my books, and I have a test that I tell everybody to take. It's a survey, and you have to take this questionnaire, this survey on how you rate yourself as a network. You have to ask certain, or you have to answer certain questions. So after I took my own test, I found out that on a scale of 1 to 10, I was only a 6, because a lot of things I thought I was doing, I wasn't really doing. So once I rated myself, I said, I'm not as good as I thought I was. I need to really sharpen my skills in certain areas that I thought I was doing, but I realized I really wasn't doing effectively, or maybe not even doing enough of. So that's the key. You have to rate yourself, and then you have to decide, what am I not doing, or what can I do better? And then create an action plan and start to train yourself to do those skills. And then, of course, the other part is to follow up. You have to force yourself. When I go to an event, for a 1-hour event, when I come home, immediately, I don't go to bed. I put all the people I met in the database, and I do all the follow-up that night. I send them whatever contact information or whatever. And then more important than follow-up is follow through, because sometimes you make a contact with somebody, but you have to set up a meeting, or and you're going to send them information, or you have to have some kind of follow-up, but then you got to follow through with what you followed up. So that's the other key. Follow up and follow through all the way to the end. So it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. It takes me, when I come home from a 1-hour networking event, it probably takes me about 2 hours to regurgitate all my information and then follow up with all these people that I met.
Wow, that's amazing. And what do you feel makes you awakened?
That's a question that I don't understand, what wakes up anybody to do anything. I don't know what triggers people. That's one of the mysteries of all this motivation, from Tony Robbins to Les Brown to Zig Ziglar to all the famous motivators. Nobody ever answers that question. What makes you want to do something at some point in time? What gives you to lose weight, or to become a better networker, or to make more money, or to get a better job? Once you get into a routine and a habit pattern, it's very hard to change it, right? What makes you change your pattern to be more successful at anything? I don't know what that is. Is it a thought, an idea? Is it you become depressed, unsatisfied, irritated, unhappy? Anyway, well, motivation is really driven by being dissatisfied. Most of the time, that's the main creator. You're just dissatisfied, and you decide you have to do something different.
That's a great way of looking at it. I was thinking that what I'm sensing from you is just a deep commitment and personal responsibility to networking, so much so that you deeply not only understand that following up, following through, and making the right connections leads to more business, but you actually do it. You don't just understand it, you really, really do it. And
that's a good point. I know people, again, that read tons of books, motivational books, business skills books. They attend all these seminars and webinars, right? Zoom calls, but they don't implement any of this stuff. They think by reading these books, it's going to be magic. That's not the magic. The magic, again, is training. My favorite analogy is, would you rather be in a foxhole with a graduate from Annapolis Academy that got straight A's or a Navy SEAL who maybe didn't get good grades in school? Which one would you rather be in a foxhole with?
I don't know what a foxhole is.
Oh, like in a war. Like when you're in a war, these soldiers would dig foxholes to protect from the enemy.
Okay.
and the enemy. Okay, sorry. I thought everybody knew what a foxhole was. So a foxhole is when the soldiers would dig a hole in the ground and they get in the hole. So when the enemy's attacked, they're protected because there's only a little bit of surface above the hole. So what I'm saying is, in a war, would you rather be in a foxhole with a straight A graduate from Annapolis or a Navy SEAL that didn't get such good grades in school?
A Navy SEAL, of course.
Why? Because he's trained to do something, right? Mm-hmm. The other person's educated, highly educated, but you don't trust them. They haven't really proven that they can do what they learned. So that's my favorite analogy. So you got to find the people and work with the people that are experts and trained, and they have the experience in the background. That's the key. And how do you get that? Training yourself and going through it, implementing it.
Thank you. And how did you become a Titan?
Well, I just was a typical person in business for years and years, going to these trade shows. I'd come home, I'd have a stack of business cards, and I'd put them in a drawer, or I'd lose them or forget them, right? You go to an event, and people give you business cards. What do you do with them? Most people lose them, or they leave them in their car, or they throw them away. So what I do, and this is, again, something I've never seen anybody else do. When I go to a networking event, I carry a box with me. Okay, it's a box about that size. In fact, here it is.
Wow, you go to every event with a big box?
Yeah, here. This is what I do. See this box?
Yes.
It's a crazy looking box, right?
Yeah.
It's transparent. Well, I put my books in here, but even more important is inside the box, I have a clipboard.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody today, they have business cards, they have digital V cards, they have all kind of dot cards and stuff like that. Okay, well, that's all nice and good, but when I meet somebody of interest, I take my box out and I open it, and I have a clipboard, an old-fashioned clipboard. And I say, okay, listen, I really like your product or service. I'm interested in getting together with you or meeting with you. And I write down their name, their email address, and their phone number, and I make a note. And they're watching me. So while we're talking, I write a note. I'm going to call you tomorrow or next week, or I'm going to send you some information. So what do you think is happening in their head? When they watch me, that's very powerful, right? Yeah. If I just took your business card and said, oh, I'll call you next week, what does that mean to you?
Not much.
Maybe. Who knows? If I write it on this pad, what do you think that means to you?
You're committed.
This guy is serious. He likes my information or my product. Nobody that I have ever seen in all my years has ever done this. This is so powerful that if anybody would do this, it'll blow your mind how it'll increase your networking skills to another level. Just doing this, taking a clipboard. Plus, you realize when I walk into an event with that box, what happens? Everybody says, what's in there? Everybody comes over to me. What do you have in that box? It's like magic. I have everybody coming over to me and asking me and starting a conversation. It's absolutely amazing. So just those two things alone. But you know how many people will do that? Hardly anybody. Nobody's going to do that. Even though I'm telling you, this is powerful, this is awesome tool, hardly anybody will ever do that. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I do think it's amazing. I think the box is the equivalent of maybe bringing in a little dog, because it's like it has that magnetic thing about, people are curious about what it is, and then they come and they ask you for it. So I think it's quite exciting that you're
there's other little gimmicks, like especially women. I went to a networking event one time, and some gal had earrings that were little light bulbs. that were lit up. She had every person in that place coming over here. Oh, I love those earrings. Those are so cool. So in other words, that's like a fly being attracted to the light. Another thing I can tell women is wear some really crazy jewelry around your neck, something like a big monogram or something that guys will come over and it allows them to make a comment. And then another thing, did you ever see, I haven't seen them lately, but they have scrolling marquee name tags. Have you seen those?
Yes.
That's another thing. Can you imagine walking into some place with that? Everybody's going to come over and talk to you like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, I see that, and you can have your name on it and it'll scroll across the marquee. Wearing unusual clothes. Sometimes like a gal, I've seen at a few events, a gal will wear a hat. If you walk into an event with a hat, guys will always come over and make a comment. Oh, what a unique hat, or I like your hat. Anything that, like you said, is a gimmick or a novelty or attracts conversation.
Yes, I actually use that. So I want to be known as the lady in red. So I wear red everywhere I go. And I wear red on social media as well. And I do typically wear jewelry as well. So I find that I am quite magnetic when I go to events. And I do find that the follow-up process is where I need to, be more present, because I'm not as organized as you are in terms of the leads, but I do have a different system that I use, which is where I have a group in WhatsApp, which is just for me. And I'm the only person in that group. And what I do is that every person that I meet at a certain event, I just enter their details directly there. And that way I remember to follow up with those people in order. So that's the system I use instead of the box.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, the key is to have some kind of system that will allow you to build a database and follow up and follow through, whatever it is.
Yes.
And, one other thing that I do, and I used to do this when I was single, back when they actually had Polaroid cameras, but now that we got phones, it's amazing. Everybody that I find of note that I have an interest in, not only do I write the clipboard, but I take a photo of me and that person. And when I get home, I text them, nice meeting you. I send them my website address and I put a little smiley face. That night, as soon as I get home, I text them. So now they see my face. They say, oh, I remember that guy. He wrote my name and information. So these are just ways to continue to make sure you engage this person and you're really interested in them. So, and everybody likes to see their face. Everybody likes a picture of themselves.
Yes.
Now, that's the other thing that I do when I go to an event. Now, this is important too. Every event I go to the producer, the promoter, the host of the event. I introduce myself. I tell them that I'm the ultimate networker. And I ask them if they have any specific people that they know at this event that they can introduce me to based on what I'm looking for that particular night. Let's say if I'm looking for people that want to train their employees for networking, I'll ask them, do you have any business owners here that I can talk to that might have employees that might want to hire me as a coach to train their people? You're a real estate person. You go to an event and you ask the host, say, hey, is there anybody here that you know that's a real estate investor or interested in real estate? You do that every event. So think about how many people do that. Hardly anybody. Nobody goes and finds the host. And then also now you get to know the host and they get to know you, right? So these are so many different little details that can make you the ultimate networker.
I love it. I love it. It's amazing. And how did you start out becoming a Titan? Like, how did you kind of start with this networking game? And has it produced any results, like financial results, or I don't know, or are you mainly promoting other people? Are you mainly promoting yourself? Where does the finance part come?
Well, the thing is that this doesn't have to be a financial tool. I mean, it should be, it could be. But my mantra is that you can get anything you want in life through your network, anything you want. And I got my wife of 44 years through social networking. And everybody loves this story. 44 years ago, okay, I was a disco king. Remember John Travolta? Do you know John Travolta and
Mm-hmm.
Saturday Night Fever?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of younger people don't even remember that movie. But I lived that movie. I was a disco king. I was a great dancer. I had a lot of dates, but I could never find the right person for some reason. So I made a list. This was in 1978. I made a list, and I had 10 best male friends that were single and meeting women all the time. So I wrote down everything that I wanted in the opposite sex, the deal breakers, deal makers, the background, the experience, physical characteristic, personality traits. So I designed what I thought was a perfect woman for me. And I gave copies. This is before the internet and cell phones, but I made hard copies. I gave it to my male friends. And I said, if you meet a female like this, I want you to introduce me. So 3 months later, I get a phone call from my best friend. He met my now wife at a party. He called me up. He goes, I met this girl. He says, you got to meet her. So we met, and boom, 44 years later, we've been happily married, and we have a beautiful daughter. And so I started way back when. Again, it doesn't have to be financial. It could be if you're looking for a job. Like that's a good one. If you're looking for a job, make a list of what kind of a job you want and give it to all your family, friends, and neighbors. Say, hey, I'm looking for a job. Do you know any companies that are looking for somebody with my qualities? Give them your resume or give them the idea of what you're looking for. Use your network to find a job, to find a place to live, to find a doctor. I have people every day, Lily, contacting me for resources. Like they'll call me up and they say, you know, a good dentist, you know, a good doctor, you know, a good chiropractor because they know I got a network. So again, it's not only helping yourself get anything you want, but it's helping other people, connecting other people, connect the dots, I call it.
Wow.
So you can use it for any reason.
Wow, it's amazing. And do you find that also it kind of leads you towards making money, growing your business, or is it mainly a way to just grow your network and then kind of see how it goes, where the opportunities could lead, depending on what you actually desire to have?
Well, yes, it can help you, of course, in your business to get more clients. That's networking. The major reason people use it in business is to get clients. And that's the way you do it, by helping other people get clients through your network. Okay, connecting people in your network with people that are in business. That's another way to help each other, cross promote, and then simply networking to get new clients yourself. Just the follow up. That is just tremendous. In fact, right now I'm working with I have a TV show called America's Real Deal. It's a brand new business investment show. It's in its second season. And right now we're looking for companies that want to come on the show and also investors. It's kind of like Shark Tank on steroids. It's called America's Real Deal. So I'm going through my network now, looking for investors and companies that want to promote on the show. And there's a lot of ways to do that, using my network. And also I love to use LinkedIn. That's one of my favorite places to create relationships without leaving your house. I'm sure you're on LinkedIn, and probably most of your listeners are on LinkedIn.
Yes, of course. And was there any particular experience that awakened your drive to become the ultimate networker?
Yeah, just after, well, right now I'm a part owner in the second largest radio streaming company in the USA called Sirius Streaming. And I was the vice president back before I retired and got out into the entrepreneurial world. But the company still is run by my partner and my wife. They still run the company. So when I was with that company to get more clients, I did the traditional going to networking events and trade shows and expos and stuff like that. And it just seemed like I wasn't really getting enough response. And then I realized I don't know how to network properly. I just would go and collect a bunch of business cards and kind of like hit or miss, just random. And I says, there's got to be a better way to do this. So then I created my How to Be an Ultimate Networker. And then after I retired, I wrote my book because I said, you know what? I'm going to try to teach other people how to do this. So I wrote 6 books in 1 year. Back in 2019, I wrote 6 books on business and social networking.
Thank you. And what's the ultimate mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they are networking?
Well, just the basic. Well, also they spend too much time talking to the people that they know. They'll go to a network event and it's more comfortable to hang out with the people that you know, right? You sit there and you talk to them, and it's really difficult for people to introduce themselves to new people, especially women. Women, I think, have a difficult time approaching men in general. It's kind of like maybe they feel uncomfortable, awkward, or maybe they feel like they're hitting on a guy or something like that. So one other way to do it is to have a wingman. If you go to an event, make sure each of you, when you're out networking, you and your partner, when you're talking to people, try to find connections. Like, say you're talking to somebody that has no interest for yourself, but they may have interest in your partner or who you came with. So a lot of times it's good to just cross promote at a particular event, actually. And then the other thing to do is when you're at an event, if you have some friends there and you meet somebody, always keep in mind who the person you're talking to you can connect with that's also at the party. Like I do that all the time. I'll be talking to somebody and I'll say, you know what? This person has no interest in me and I don't have interest in them, but my friend Joe over there, he's in real estate and this guy's looking for real estate. So I take that person and bring him over to my friend and introduce him. So those are kind of things within the event itself that you can do. So I learned how to do all these things. I said, I have to be more successful at networking. And that's how it started. I just wanted to be more successful at it and not waste my time.
Thank you. And what's your message, your legacy message to entrepreneurs worldwide?
Again, whatever skills that you want in business, whether it's negotiating, being a better salesperson, networking, train yourself. Don't just read books and don't just say that's a great idea. Like a lot of times, Lily, when I'm coaching a group or I'm speaking to a group, I see their heads shaking like, oh, wow. Or they'll come up to me after and say, oh, that's great. That's fantastic. And I think to myself, they're never going to do what I said. They just give me lip service. They like it. They think it's great. It's cool. But chances are they're never going to do it. So I also used to teach people how to find a mate because I use my system called referral matchmaking. And I can teach anybody to find a date, a mate, using referral matchmaking in their social network. That in itself, again, I got tired of the standard way of meeting people, and I created my own logical system to find a mate. And that's what I tell people to do. Create your own system, whatever it is. But you have to want to get better at it. And you have to implement and train yourself. So
thank you. And what system do you recommend for people to stop procrastinating and follow up and follow through more?
Well, I think what I came up with is the key to make people get off dead center and to lose weight or to become a better networker or to find a mate is you're just so dissatisfied. You're just so unhappy. You're so frustrated that you're tired of doing the same thing over and over again, right? Isn't that the old saying? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So I tell people that, you just have to be so unhappy with what you're doing or so dissatisfied that you're going to take charge and lose weight or become a better networker or a better salesperson and take it upon yourself. I think that's the key, just being real dissatisfied.
Wow. So until you're really dissatisfied, you're likely to just continue with your comfort zone and do what you know to do.
Well, that I find that in general, humanity gets themselves to a certain point into a certain habitual lifestyle, and they're just not going to change. In fact, they don't want to change because it's even if they just want something, okay, that's not enough to want something, right? Everybody wants to have more money, bigger cars. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be on TV. But are you willing to put in the work. Like the biggest one in today's world is what? Losing weight, right? Our society is fat. What is it? 60% of people are considered obese or more. Why don't they lose weight? In fact, most people are even miserable, but they can't lose weight because they won't go to the gym and they won't stop eating. So until they get, a lot of times it's people will get a health scare. They'll go to their doctor. They'll have higher blood pressure, or they'll have some people even have to have a stroke before they do anything, or they have to, experience something really bad. So it's really, really tough. How about people who stop smoking? What would make somebody want to stop smoking, even if it's so bad for you? They know it's bad for you, and yet I don't know what makes them makes them keep smoking. It's crazy. So
you've heard George Dubec about the secret to becoming an awakened Titan. And this secret is to become the ultimate networker. And to become the ultimate networker, all you have to do is be committed to following up and following through.
That would be, if everybody just did that. All the other stuff is great. They're little helps and tools, but that's it. Once you meet somebody, make sure you follow up with them, set a meeting, send them information. And then after you set the first meeting or you send them the information, then follow up, because what's one of the secrets to sales? Most of the time, you can't get a sale until the person has experienced your information. I hear all kind of numbers, 5 times or 6 times or 7 times. They have to be reminded over and over again about your product and service. And then somewhere along that line of follow through, they might really want to take advantage of working with you or being your customer.
Perfect. Stay tuned for the next episode. Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential business titans, providing you with the insights to awaken to your full potential, so you can get paid to be yourself, find true happiness, and manifest anything you desire.